Hey guys, today's profile review is all about how we climb out of silver into gold, eventually into platinum as a top laner. And we're going to be focusing on 5 big things. 1, are you playing enough games? The average number of games it takes to go from silver to platinum with a 55% win rate is about 300 to 500 games. So firstly, can you play enough games? Second is choosing a role. You need to focus on one role. 98% of players climb by focusing on one role when they're climbing out of silver for the first time. The third thing is once you've got that role, you need to choose a champion pool. 1 to 3 champions. The less champions, the better, because one tricking, you always statistically climb faster. Again, 98% of players climb out of silver for the first time. 1 tricking or 2 tricking. Maximum 3 champions in your champion pool. The fourth one is your CS per minute. This is one of the biggest in-game problems silver players struggle with, is getting enough income through CS per minute, particularly in the first 15 minutes of the game. And then the fifth thing is deaths. Silver players struggle with understanding their strengths, weaknesses, and their power spikes. And this leads to generally a lot of deaths, particularly in solo fights, so 1v1s, particularly in laning phase. So we're going to break down all those 5 things in the next 10 minutes in a profile view to show you exactly how you can climb out of silver into gold for season 2023. Now, before we get into that video, guys, if you're interested in getting your profile reviewed, please check out the link in the YouTube description below, fill out the form, and I will get you your very own profile review, as well as if you're interested in the paid coaching, personalized coaching solution I talk about towards the end of this video. If you're interested in booking a one-on-one call with me to discover what that would look like for you and your personal situation, please, there's also a link there where you can book a call with me. Anyway, let's get into the video. Right. But anyway, let's get into your profile review. So currently I can see you're silver 2, you're bronze 3. It looks like you skipped a season, did you? So 2020, you're bronze 3, 2021, you didn't play ranked maybe, and now 2022, 2023, you're getting back into it. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm basically going to show you everything you need to do specific to your current playstyle, your current champion pool, what you need to do to go from silver to platinum in the fastest way possible. Now, I'm looking at your profile from a perspective of how can I get you from silver to plat in the fastest way possible. Now, that might not be how you want to play League of Legends or how you want to climb. So keep that in mind. I will give you alternatives of strategies you can do to ensure you're still having fun while keeping in mind of the quickest strategy. So the quickest way from point A to point B, it's not always the most fun way, but when we're trying to go from basically the top 50% of players, which is silver, to the top 9%, 8% of players, which is platinum, we need to change a lot of things and we need to do it quickly because your MMR gets affected when we're losing games when we don't have a high win rate. So silver to platinum, it's almost like a race there because if we take too long and we get too many losses, the league matchmaking system basically identifies you as a silver or a gold player after a few hundred games. So it's really key that you do have a pretty optimal strategy, but that also takes into account, how you want to play league, how you have fun, etc., etc. So the 5 things I'm going to talk about are you need to play way more ranked games. You need to choose a role and stick with it. You need to figure out your champion pool. You need to look and improve on your CS per minute. That's the biggest thing in game holding you back. And then the 5th is your deaths. So in that order, that's the most important order. So in terms of what will affect your ability to climb, we're going from most important to least important. So just remember that as we're doing this profile review in the next 10 minutes. So the first one is you need to play more ranked. I can see in the preseason you've played about 28 games or so. We need this to be higher. I can see even last season you played about 10 ranked games. Now, I always say life over league, right? If you literally don't have time to play enough League of Legends, that's fine. Always prioritize uni, life, friends, job, family, everything else over playing solo queue, of course. But if you can play more solo queue, I would highly recommend it because if you're trying to go from silver to platinum, it's going to take you at least 300, 400 games in one season, and it could take up to like 500, 600 depending on your win rate. If you're averaging about 55% win rate from silver to plat, it will take about 300 to 400 games depending on your MMR. So that's a really good way to understand, okay, does my goal, so you want to get to platinum, I'm just going to call you V so I don't mispronounce your name. Do you want to get to platinum? Okay, that's my goal. can I play enough games to theoretically get to platinum? Oh shit, no, I can't. I've got uni, I've got friends, I've got a girlfriend, I've got a partner, I've got a job, etc. Okay, so then we reset the goal and go, okay, well, we're silver 2. Let's aim for gold 4. And then if we get gold 4, let's aim for gold 3 or gold 2. And, you know, keep the goals realistic based on how many games you can play. Because if you're trying to get to platinum, but you can only play 50 ranked games a season, it's going to take you multiple seasons, 2 or 3 seasons to get there. And so basically you're setting yourself up for failure because you've got this big dream, but you can never realistically get there. So I want you to keep that in mind, V. That's one of the most important things for your journey of climbing out of silver and eventually into platinum. The second one is choosing a role. I can see last season you kind of played a bit of everything. Like, again, it's only like 10 ranked games, so there's not much to glean from it. But I can see here that it looks like top lane is your most successful lane. And what I'd recommend is really like drilling down on these 3 champions, your Mordekaiser, your Alawi, and your Mundo. Both have really unique strengths and weaknesses. All 3, I think, are really strong in the moment in the top lane meta, and I think they'll continue to be strong for at least the next 12 months. I mean, Alawi's been strong, very unique champion, but strong for seasons. Mordekaiser's been in and out of the meta, but generally strong, and Mundo has been a bit weaker, but now with his rework, I think he's one of the strongest top laners and just a great all-round champion. So I would really recommend those 3 champions. To be honest, again, this is how I would see it and how I would recommend a silver player to climb to platinum in the shortest amount of time possible. It might not be the most fun way, so keep that in mind, V. But I would say pick one of those 3. So whether it's Mundo, Alawi, or Mordekaiser, and play about 90% of your top lane games on that champion. Basically, you're only playing another champion besides that if it gets banned or picked by the enemy team. Because in silver, in gold, in platinum, counter picks don't matter. Meta doesn't matter. All that matters is your individual champion mastery on the champion you're playing and your ability to understand matchups. That is all that matters. Yes, if you pick Mordekaiser into a counter pick, it's going to be a tougher lane. But I guarantee you playing a champion that you've got mastery over and you're playing a bad matchup, you're going to perform better in that than trying to counter pick the enemy and go, oh, I haven't really played Fiora before, but she's a really good counter to Cho'Gath. So I'm going to pick Fiora against this Cho'Gath, and you just wing it. That's not how we want to play League of Legends, and that's not how silver players climb to platinum. So I want you to keep that in mind, V, and that's why picking comfort over counter and comfort over meta is so important. So always pick and focus on the champion you are most comfortable with. And generally that's the champion you have the highest win rate with and the champion you play the most games on, because it's the champion you enjoy the most. And that's a really good way to climb in League of Legends, is find that champion you love and just double down on them. And then, you know, if you don't want to be that kind of one trick, I think a maximum champion pool of 3 in top lane is fine. If you really wanted to play Mordekaiser, Alawi, and Mundo, you can. The climb will generally be slower because you're trying to learn 3 champions at once. It's like trying to learn 3 languages at once versus learning 1 language at once. I'm sure you've learned a second language. Imagine trying to learn like 3 languages in one time versus just learning 1 language. You're going to learn that 1 language a lot faster than you're going to learn those 3 languages if you're trying to do it all together. So think of that when it comes to champions, and just understand if you are going to have a bigger champion pool, that is going to affect the time it takes you to climb. So as long as you're happy with that trade-off, it's completely fine. And the other strategy we can do with this is, let's say you really want this account to get to platinum, but you also want to play, test, and learn and have fun on all these different champions and all these different roles. You know, you still want to try all these different roles. What I recommend is the 2 account strategy. And basically what that is you have your 1 account. So this account you have where you're trying to get it to platinum. So you're basically one-tricking your highest win rate champion all the way to platinum, and you're only playing that champion on this account. And then you have your second account, which you also play ranked on, but you have more fun with it. You learn Alawi, you learn Mundo, you learn Fiora, you play some jungle, you play some mid, you play with some friends. You're just testing, learning, having fun. And that's a really good way to split up League of Legends. That's how I do it. That's how I climb really high. And that's how hundreds of players I've helped coach climb to their goal ranks. That's what I recommend, because it allows you to have that really serious account where you can still climb to that goal rank, but it also gives you that second account where you can kind of relax a bit and play whatever you want and remove that ranked anxiety and that ranked pressure that a lot of players get. And so it's a really healthy way to attack the League of Legends system and to go for your goal rank realistically and play the way you want to play while still optimizing your one account to climb to the highest it's ever been. Third thing, sorry, I was talking about champion pool and role there, so those are basically 2 points in one. The fourth thing we need to look at is your CS per minute. So right now you're doing really well, like plus 430 gold at 15 minutes. It says to me you're probably getting a few solo kills in lane. So I can see here you're averaging about 3.5 solo kills a game, which is really good. But you're lacking in CS. As a top laner in Silver, you should be averaging about 5.5 to 6 CS per minute as a Silver 2 top laner. So the fact that you're still winning so many games, like you have a 67% win rate, right, with a bad CS, the fact that you're doing that just suggests to me you're a really good top laner and you understand the lane and the role and the place you have in your team comp and the place you have in terms of winning the game and influencing the game, which is really good. Now I'm looking at, okay, what can we do to take that to the next level in order to get you out of Silver into Gold and eventually to that gold rank of Platinum? And the biggest thing I see sticking out for you, well, there's two big things, but the first one I want to talk about is your CS per minute. Ideally, that should be at about 5.5 to 6. By the time you hit Gold, I want it to be at about 6 to 6.5. And by the time you get to Platinum, it should be up around the 7 to 8 CS per minute. So you're really going to need to focus, particularly in your first 15 minutes, on wave management, recalling, and last hitting. Those are the big three things you need to do to improve your CSing. Don't worry too much about CSing after laning phase, because ideally you either want to be grouping or split pushing, and that's more about applying macro pressure to lanes and to the game rather than actually getting income and XP through CS, because as the game goes on, XP and gold income from minions becomes less and less important, and it becomes much more of a macro game. How can I push this wave in to get to this dragon and leave my top laner there, etc, etc. Basically out-rotating your enemy. It gets a bit more complicated than that, but that's how I want you to start thinking about your CS. The final thing then I want to talk about is your deaths. Right now you're dying a lot. 7.6 deaths a game. That's averaging about 4 to 5 minutes of every game you're not having impact in the game. So average League of Legends game in Silver runs for about 29 minutes of solo queue, right? And if you're dying almost 8 times a game, for about 4 to 5 minutes of that 28 minutes, you're completely off the map. Whether you're gray screen because you're dead and you're respawning, or you just died and now you're walking back to lane, that is all dead time where you have no impact on the game. So the fact that you've still, again, got a 67% win rate with that higher death rate means that you are a very good natural top laner and you understand the game. But in order to, again, get you to that next level, we need to be reducing your deaths in order to keep you as an individual having as much impact on the game as possible. And I know there's such thing as good deaths and stuff, but I don't want to get into that. All I want you to focus on is dying less, particularly in solo deaths, because I can see here you're dying about 2.3 times in solo deaths, which is basically you're doing a 1v1 and you're not actually understanding, oh shit, I can't actually beat this champion. And that's a key concept where champion mastery comes into play. So that's the next big thing I want you to focus on, getting those deaths down, ideally to about the 5.5 to 6 range as you climb into gold and platinum. Overall, V, I think you've got a lot of potential here. I think top lane is your natural key to climbing out of silver and to eventually climbing out of gold. The biggest things holding you back right now is your volume of games. Making sure you pick that champion pool, that solid champion pool that you really like, ideally 1 champion, maximum 3 champions, and then focusing on those big 2 in-game factors, your CS per minute, which is key for income and resources, consistent income, and then your deaths. You're dying too much, particularly with solo deaths. V, if you can fix all those things, I think you're going to do very well. Now, obviously, you did mention you're interested in paid coaching. So once you've watched this, I can actually build you and I can take you through month by month a personalized, tailored coaching solution to get you from silver to gold to platinum. And it's all going to be based around how many games you can realistically put into League of Legends in a season. But if volume isn't a problem, we can get you from silver to platinum next season. It's all just about volume and then taking that ranked strategy seriously. Because I've helped climb players from silver to gold to platinum before. It is a process, it is tough, and it can be a long journey, but I've done it before, I can do it with you. So if you're interested in that, once you've watched this on Discord, reach out to me and we can book that one-on-one call. I'll give you the link and we can just schedule a time to chat on Discord, and I can basically tell you what that tailored personalized coaching solution would look like based on your feedback from this profile review. So what champions you want to play, what role you want to play, how many games you can realistically play, and any other information you want to give me, and then we can go from there. So V, I hope you enjoyed this profile view, and once you've watched this, I look forward to chatting with you. As always, cheers and good luck on the Rift, and I'll talk to you soon.